Good morning. Was planning to film this while she was sleeping, but that is not happening. So I posed a question on Facebook and Instagram asking for your pumping questions, and I got some really good ones. I'm so excited to answer them for you. I will need to answer them in a two-part video because it's a lot of information, and I didn't think you'd want to sit through a 45-minute video. So I will try to keep this under 20 minutes. Part one of this two-part series is going to be what's in my pump bag. This is everything that I have used, and all of which can fit in my one bag. If I really needed everything, I could take it with me to travel. Most of it I would take with me to work when I was pumping at work with my first child. This is baby number 2. Our pumping story looks different, but the supplies are the same. So let's get started with part 1, what is in my pump bag. Well, it wouldn't be a pumping video without talking about the pump, but I'm actually going to start with my pump bag. So right now this is actually empty, it doesn't look good, but this is the Sarah Wells pump bag. I bought it off Amazon, I believe, back in 2018 when I was prepping for having baby number 1. I love this bag so much. So I found that it works really well with my pump. I can't speak to other models or other brands, but it does fit the Spectra S2 really well. Okay, so that is the bag itself. Then I got the accessories that came with it. One of them is the wet dry bag. I love the pattern with the solid, but you can mix and match as you choose. But this wet dry bag means that any pump parts that get wet throughout your process, even after you've cleaned these, they're still not completely dry, let's say, you can throw them in your wet dry bag, put it in your bag, and then not get everything else contaminated with what might have milk on it. When I am pumping throughout the day, say I'm at work and I'm going to be pumping throughout the day, I love to just take this part right here, which I will explain in a bit, stick it in the bag, zip it up, and throw them in the fridge. And I could just take this straight out of the bag for my next session, go do it again until the end of the day, pack everything up, take it home, and wash it. So then the other compartment, or the other accessory, is the travel insulated bag. So once you had finished your pumping, you can take your milk, put it in trusted little containers. There's a bunch of brands that you could choose from, but these fit really well in here with the frozen ice pack. So you take this out of the freezer each morning. This came with the bag. You stick it in here. Then throughout the day, as you're pumping your milk from here, you can put it in these little containers. Zip it up and store it on this side of the bag. So I'll show that in a minute. Okay. Okay. Hi. All right, so let's dive into the pump itself. This is the Spectra S2, as I mentioned earlier. It is an electric pump that does need to be plugged in. So Spectra also makes the S1. It's blue instead of pink, and it is cordless. So I guess you just charge it. I've not worked with that. I've only used the one that plugs into the wall or the car. They do make a car adapter. I keep this in my bag all the time, just in case I find myself somewhere that is not feasible to pump. I could run out to the car. I've used this on road trips. It's super helpful. Can just pump anywhere. Okay, but it will need to be plugged into a power source. So you can choose if you want hands-free routes or the more standard What I will say, this does get into a question I'll answer in part 2 about why I like certain pumps over others, but I do think you get the most power out of your pump if it does plug into the wall. Okay, so if you get the Spectra S2, this is what it's gonna look like. It comes with hoses, so here are some extra. I carry extra hoses with me in case one were to pop, break. They do stretch out over time and do need to be replaced. The other parts that you'll get are some containers. Now these are not the ones that came with the Spectra. These are Maymom, which is a third-party vendor that makes parts for Spectra. And I found them to be a little bit more affordable. They're available in the US. I don't know if they're available to me in Qatar, so I will probably have to go back to the Spectra pieces as I need to replace them. However, you will get 2 cups and 2 sets of, you'll get these little filters, you'll get the flange, and the pieces for creating suction. So to put one together, you would pick up your flange, add your little filter, screw on your cup, take your little rubber piece, find the smaller of the 2 discs, pop that on, and then pop on the larger piece. You take the fat end of your little orb here, and then on the skinny end goes one of your hoses. Now, of course, you're not going to want to hold this. So what do? Well, you get a pumping bra. Now, there are 2 different pumping bras. There might be more styles, but 2 general ideas. One is the strapless, like tube pump bra. And this is really useful if you are somewhere that you don't want to wear a nursing bra. Say you're back at the office and you want to wear a regular bra with your outfit, or a strapless bra, or you're somewhere nice and it's just not feasible to be wearing a dumpy nursing bra. This thing can wrap around, zip, watch the hair. Always good to have like a hair tie and to pull your hair back during this, especially if you have long hair. I actually did used to keep a hair tie in my bag, so that's a really good idea for future reference. Okay, so you're set up like this. Then you will take your flange through and through. And now you are free to text, type at work, paint your nails, do whatever you need to do. The other type is, say you're home with your kid all day and you just want to be able to feed and then pump right after. You're trying to build supply, or maybe baby didn't nurse all the way. Whatever your reason, if you are wanting to pump but you also have a nursing bra, you're just doing a lot of back and forth. I'm actually wearing right now a nursing tank top. So I love these. It's like tight around the tummy, so it's like fitted, it is comfortable, especially very early postpartum when things are just kind of like loosey-goosey down there. It's really nice to have that tummy control. But it's just a nice tank, but it does have these clips. So the other bra looks like this, and these little snaps replace your nursing bra. So you unhook the tank or the bra that is built the same way. Hook these on. It goes around, and same thing. You tuck these in to either side. You are now hands-free. So we've talked through the setup. I carry in my bag with me, I mentioned, extra hoses, extra filters, because every time you buy a set of extras, it's going to come with a hose and filters. So it doesn't hurt to just keep them in the bag. At least one set. You probably don't need to go as far as having two. It is suggested that you replace the pump parts, the flanges, the hoses and the filters every 3 to 6 months, depending on how much you're using it. Okay, so you finished pumping. I mentioned storing the milk in those little cups in the insulated bag. The other option is, excuse you, here. So typically, I would come home, take my milk out of one of those little containers. It's got the ounces on there. Okay, that was a 4-ounce pump. Okay, I'm going to take one of the markers that I also keep in my pump bag. Most importantly, I'm going to fill out the date and the volume. 1, you want to know how much milk you have. But 2, you want to do first in, first out. So use your oldest milk first. Okay, fill this out before you pour your milk in, just to eliminate risk of it spilling or the seal opening or just mishandling of the bag. Fill this out, you rip this off, pour your milk in, lay it flat in a freezer, and then I actually have these long skinny trays in the freezer, and I will, after it's frozen, stack them in descending order. Ascending order? Oldest to newest. Okay, so the other thing you can do, if you don't want to go from here to here to here, is you can go straight from pump to bag. I have this little contraption. It makes a lot more sense to use when I'm home pumping and I know my milk is going straight into the freezer and I'm not really traveling with it. I wouldn't necessarily have loose unfrozen milk in these bags if I didn't need to. These are a lot more hardy, less likely to have a leak, a spill, you know, to burst open. So if you're home or just feel like going straight into the bag, I'm gonna rip this open. Oh, okay. These little contraptions, unscrew this. This screws right onto here. These are little O-rings, little rubber O-rings that can go in between here in case your flange doesn't quite fit and there's not a good enough seal, then add an O-ring. They mention on their little packaging that sometimes the match just is off a little bit in manufacturing, so they provide the O-ring just in case to give you that really good seal so you're not losing any suction. So set this up on either side. Okay, and then this clips on one side and the other side, one for each side. But then it's in there and it's pumping straight into the bag. What I will say about this, these bags come with their own markings for ounces. Don't count on them. They are like wildly inaccurate. When you pump in here and you see 2 ounces, 3 ounces, 4 ounces, okay, you can trust that number, write whatever this says and put it on here and pour it in the bag and see what it tells you. It's probably gonna tell you like way less. And you'll think like, which one do I trust? Trust this. And again, when you thaw this out and pour it into a bottle, okay, you know your true ounces. Okay, so we've stored our milk, we've pumped our milk, a couple of other things. I will talk later on about, one of the questions was pain-free pumping or how to reduce pain while pumping. I'm just going to suggest having some nipple butter in your bag. It's small, you may use it, you may not, but it can be really helpful to apply before and after pumping for healing and comfort. Okay, I'll move into cleaning. So you've pumped, you've stored your milk, you got to clean up your setup. So I like to carry wet ones in my bag and wipe everything down after the end of the day if I've pumped multiple times, especially if I've taken my pump out of the home, then I really want to clean it before I bring it back and use it again. As far as cleaning the pump parts, However, I carry around this kit. This is an Oxotot kit, also bought it on Amazon. I recommend this to all my working mom friends. You basically take it at the end of the day. Before I went home, I would just get some warm soapy water, put a little dab of soap, put some warm water, scrub this part, and then of course rinse stands there. You can use this part to get in here, but then these things can be tricky. Okay, it's got this little piece. Come out. Oh my gosh, it was never this hard to get out. But of course while filming, there we go. Okay, and get into the smaller parts. So especially like in there. Really awesome. So then rinse, keep them on here, let it dry. Or not, toss it into your wet dry bag and go home, depending on how close to the end of the day you are doing your cleaning. A couple other things. This is a nursing cover. It also is a car seat cover. It can be a spit up rag, it could be whatever you want it to be. But if you found that you were self-conscious about pumping, or say you don't have an office and you needed some privacy, then one of these is really great for tossing over while you pump, so you just feel a little bit more modest if that is what is comfortable for you, especially if you're pumping in the car. I am definitely that person that is at the stoplight and the person looks over and there are my nipples going, 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 and I just don't care. But that might not be you, and that is okay. The other thing you can use is a swaddle. These right here are alcohol test strips. I also carry those in my bag. You're doing such a good job, Mama. I am almost done. I am almost done. Yeah. You are getting hungry. Okay. So these come individually wrapped. You pull one out, you rip it up, or rip it open, and then put a couple drops of breast milk on it. And basically, if it changes color at all, then you know that there's alcohol present in your breast milk. And I will do a whole separate video. Oh, you're so close, Mama, you're so close. I will do a whole separate video on how you can enjoy drinks and still be a breastfeeding, pumping mom, still nurse your baby. I just went away all weekend and brought my pump in case, but managed to have a great time, drink when I wanted to drink, and not contaminate my milk, be able to nurse when I needed to nurse. I will do a separate video on that, because again, trying to keep this short, and I already know it's been super long. Okay, and then the only other two things don't actually go in my pump bag, but they are pump alternatives. One is the Haka. This is so widely loved, and I think now there's other versions of it, other brands of it, but the Haka is kind of like the OG. And basically, especially in the first 40 days of postpartum, when your milk is, you've likely got an oversupply. I know that doesn't happen for everybody, but when your boobs are just leaking, this can be really helpful, especially as you're nursing. Say I'm nursing on this side, you bring this to the breast, squish it down to create that suction, let it go, and not only will it catch the falling milk, but it actually has a bit of a draw. So it's actually helping pull some extra milk, which can boost your supply, keep that supply going, and then also just give you relief, because there is a lot of engorgement in the beginning for a lot of moms. So I know that there were times where she would be sleeping, and sometimes I would only leak out of one side. Now, moving forward, it's usually out of both sides, but at the beginning, usually it was my right side, I think, that would leak the most. And I could put that on, sweep, and not break suction. That is a risk. I have read stories of, suction getting broken, and then your Haka falls and the milk spills out. So proceed cautiously, but you can do a decent amount of movement and have some freedom and still be getting a small pump, or at least not wasting milk getting soaked up in your shirt. The other one I had this when I was nursing Cohen, my first, is the Medela hand pump. There's also a bunch of other hand pumps out there, but I did find this very useful, especially at times of engorgement. Say in the middle of the night, I woke up and I did not want to set up the pump. I just needed a little bit of relief so that I could lay back down, This is really helpful. You put this on, you initiate that kind of let down reflex. So you do this kind of fast, as fast as you can. And then this is the actual drawing out. Get it, get an ounce or two, just into whatever it is to feel some comfort. Store that milk. This comes off. It does have a lid. Stick that in the fridge. So it is nice to have one on hand and to take with you. It's super portable. If you were trying to do a full pump, this is going to take a lot more work than this, but really nice to have for those one-off situations. And I think I've talked you through everything. I do not know. I'm hoping that this stayed under 20 minutes once I finish editing it, but I hope that this was useful for you. I can't wait to come back with part 2. I have some awesome questions that I am so excited to answer for you. It will follow right behind this video. So let me know in the comments if there's something you want a further explanation on, if there's a different product that you want to know my opinion on, to compare to something that I have here or maybe that I don't have. Tell me things that have worked for you in your setup. Would love to know. So, and I'm sure other moms out there would love to know different things than what I've shown you here. So thanks again, and come back for part 2.